Today we're here to talk about the DV series by DuroVac. The DV series is divided by the Regen series, which we call the DVR, and also the positive displacement series of the DV series, which we call the DVP. Now, if you're thinking ever you're confronted with a pile of material or a spill up to your boots, up to your knees, sometimes up to your waist, this is where you might want to start thinking about the DVP series. So what stands out in the P for DVP is the positive displacement blower. This blower is a workhorse. So the DVP series uses the same bag house, the same waste bin, but it pairs it up with this workhorse of a vacuum package called the positive displacement, or some other folks in the industry call it the low blower. Technically speaking, is a constant volume blower. And why we call it a workhorse is that we'll try to just drive that material home. So it's gonna take it from the pile and bring it home. When you wanna move from a kind of an industrial housekeeping central vac to a material handling, spill recovery type of industrial vacuum system, you're gonna start thinking about the DVP series. The same rules apply regarding combustible dust. It does fit within some structures of the NFPA codes, but do reach out to your DuroVac representative to ensure that the application is correct. Budget-wise, we're looking at a system that will start you off at about $30,000, and it will move you up to about $50,000, depending on the options and the features that you select. The materials that it will handle, now you're talking some real business here. We're looking at materials that are anywhere above 65 pounds a cubic foot and beyond, but it'll also handle fine materials, by the way, that are light and less dense as a density. So, but you really want to focus on dense, heavy, and abrasive materials. Overall, the same warranty applies because this uses our world-class bag filters, our polyester bag filters, and you'll have a 2-year warranty on the filters, but once again, you'll likely only call us about 5 years down the road, and we have customers that call us a decade after they've purchased the machine. What are the industries that the DVP series serve? Mining industry. You're thinking about primary metals, where you're making steel and aluminum and other vital metals that we consume today, and also very popular in the construction materials business. You'd be looking at iron ore concentrate right underneath your conveyors, where you've got piles of materials and you really want to move them, and it's not so easy to broom and shovel it. In the primary metals, you'd be looking at a steel mill, a foundry, an aluminum smelter. This is where you'll find a lot of casting sand. You'll find actually the concentrates, but also a whole bunch of very specific reagents that are used to make all of these metal alloys. We're talking about things such as lime dust. We're also talking about coking coal. We're talking about a whole bunch of other reagents that are necessary in the manufacturing process of alloys. If you're looking at a thin layer or a slightly thick layer of material and your task is to do general housekeeping, think DVR. As soon as you start walking around your plant and you're kicking around the dust and the material, or you bury your boot in it, or sometimes you go, uh-oh, I'm at the bottom of a staircase and it's up to my knees, start thinking DVP, but specifically the P in the DVP, which stands for the positive displacement or low blower, because these are the types of blowers that will get you out of trouble. The DVP series, we can separate it in two kind of blower classes. You've got the 5L, provides you slightly less vacuum levels, so it can go a little less far, and you've got the 6M models of DVPs. The 6Ms will take you a little farther. So let's go into it. The DVP 5L models comes in the 15, 20, and 25 horsepowers. These will just give you ranges of flows, airflows, but with a constant vacuum level at 12 inches of mercury. Moves the material and vacuum takes you there. So the 5L models of DVPs will kind of take you in general with dense materials somewhere between 100 and 200 feet with ease. The 6M models of DVPs ranges from 20, 25, and 30 horsepower, and these will move you up to 300, 350 feet away with ease. Over the years, we've developed also a DVP 40 that uses a 7M blower, and that is only for very specific applications requiring that kind of airflow and vacuum. Do contact your DuroVac representative to know more about that model of DVP. The DVP was developed as a more cost-conscientious model that can satisfy a lot of applications. Your decision-making criteria are the following. You walk around and you see your personnel doing back-breaking shoveling to get themselves out of a pit or to clear a staircase because it's buried in materials. This is where you start thinking DVP. When you're walking through your belt galleries and your transfer points at your belt galleries are buried in material, start thinking DVP. When you're trying to maintain your belts and your rollers in your galleries and you have a difficulty accessing your belt and your rollers to do maintenance, think about a DVP. It is also the beginning of your thought process when you are consuming a lot of, you're deploying a lot of expenses on vacuum trucks. DuroVac exists because we are here to be between the broom and the shovel, the janitor, and the vacuum truck. And so if ever you see a job that is too much for a broom and a shovel, but that may be way too costly for a vacuum truck, think about DuroVac. The DVP series is a standalone portable vacuum system that can also be centralized, bolted to the ground and matched up with a piping network. What are the kind of accessories that you can add to it? Well, as you can tell from the type of blower systems that we use, the airflows and the vacuum levels that we operated at, it moves a lot of stuff in a short amount of time. So it goes without saying that its built-in 25-gallon storage might get overflown fairly quickly. So what do we do to mitigate that? We can put a top hat separator or a cyclonic top hat separator to pre-separate some of the materials and contain it in a 55-gallon drum. That's one of the solutions. We can use our whole gamut of sealed hoppers to intercept the material and store them. We have them in a 1.5 yard, 2 yards, and 3 yard models, and you can intercept the materials and store them and do as you please with them. Or then we move into another class of accessories that are bona fide separators. You have high efficiency separators to abrasion resistant separators. You just have to come to your DuroVac representative with your application parameters, what you wish to do with the collected materials, and we'll design and select the right separator for you. Let's take you through all of the components of a DVP. Material comes in tangentially into our bag separator and moves through impaction plates to drive material down into the waste bin. Is then separated and filtered using our world-class filtration polyester felt Teflon coated filters that have a 2-year warranty, and the likelihood is you won't call us before 5 years. Then all of the particles that are not intercepted with our main filters are collected using an inline or security filter right before it goes into the blower. The blower is driven with an industrial grade TEFC motor of your choosing. You can have a range of voltages, 208 to 230 volts, 440 to 480 volts, 550 to 600 volts, all 3-phase because we're in that power group. The blower and the motor are driven with a NOSHA rated belt guard, and the exhaust is managed using an oversized silencer that gives you less than 85 dB performance in terms of noise level. All of this package is neatly tucked away on a frame and driven with a NEMA 4 type control panel or starter to be able to provide you main power. So all you gotta do when you get your DVP delivered is bring some power, press the on button, and you're ready to vacuum. Performance ranges of the DVP. We start going into there because in the DVR we were not talking about conveyance rate, but now you're looking at using a PD blower. So you're looking at anywhere between, with a DVP 15 horsepower 5L, giving you about 400 ICFM at 12 inches of mercury, you're probably looking at driving about a little less than 100 pounds a minute of material with that model. And you'll move all the way up to the DVP 36M model, where you'll be driving close to 300 pounds a minute of material. All of that, your DuroVac representative can walk you through its various capacities to make sure that we select the right material, the right model for you. It is really important to be mindful as to how we select a number of simultaneous operators or concurrent users. If you're trying to move a pile of material or a spill, it's very hard to balance airflow when you have two users using it at the same time. So be very mindful of that. Do get with your DuroVac representative such that we can design the piping network and ensure that we have a good flow and a good balance with the number of concurrent users or simultaneous operators. You'll be able to get away with using 1.5 inch hoses, 38 inch millimeters, 2 inch hoses, 50 millimeters, and up to the bigger series, you'll be able to use 2.5 inch 67 millimeters, or even 3 inch hoses, 75 millimeters in diameter. There are some instances and some setups that you can use 4 inch and even 100 millimeter hoses, but check with your DuroVac representative on how to get that done. Now, if you want to ever go into the higher ranges of 4 inch and 100 millimeter diameter hoses, we'll also likely recommend the PowerLift series, at which we'll cover in the next segment. DVP series runs you between $30,000 and $50,000. Once again, these are cost-sensitive and budget-sensitive type of industrial vacuum systems that won't break the bank.